All right, what up, guys? We are live. So this is a debate panel a lot of you guys have been waiting for. This is going to be really fucking epic. I woke up early for this, my version of early. So let's just start off with a very quick introduction. I'll let the guests introduce themselves. So top, you see Chantal. Am I pronouncing your name correct? Sorry.
Any way you want to say it. Chantal High, Canada's dating coach.
Chantal Hyde. So you might remember her. She was on my channel about a year ago. We had that debate about the 3 month no kissing rule, and she was a really good sport. So let's give her, give her respect and props for that. Looks for L joining us. We were supposed to have QB, but he dropped out. So looks for L filled in. Pretty thankful for that. Then we got Austin Summers. You guys know him. He's the 8-inch dildo guy or whatever, the 12-inch did or the 12-foot dildo. The point is, he's got a massive dildo. Then we got Mr. Slavin as dominatrix and our favorite British dating coach, Kezia Noble. So the topic is going to be best dating strategies in 2023. I think this is going to get a lively debate. I'm going to be basically moderating. The only rule is really no massive interruptions and keep it, respectful towards the other guests. But other than that, it'll be more or less a free for all. So let's just go. Well, actually, let's. Do any of you guys want to add more to your introduction, or are you ready to get going?
Well, I could let people know that I have 2 awards in life coaching and I've written 10 books and 3 workbooks on dating and relationships.
Cool. Is there anything anyone else wants to add?
For anyone who doesn't know, I'm a black pillar. I think that looks are the primary factor in terms of attracting women, having them desire you. It all comes down to your looks. For anyone who doesn't know.
Looks for we would have never figured out that you're black. Thank you for that
had to make it clear. Yeah.
I thought you were a blue pillar personally, but okay. Kezia, Slave, Austen, anything?
Yeah,
I'll add that I think every pill is really dumb, and defining your entire worldview on a color of a pill is silly. But yeah,
the name is just. We don't need a name for it. You could just say looks are all that matter. The name is unnecessary.
I just wanted to say, when I told my owner about looks for L, she called him immediately a complete loser.
That's not what I said.
Well, you didn't say?
No, that's not what I said.
Well, there goes that argument.
Slave, don't speak when you're not spoken to. All right. What did you say, mistress?
The cool thing about debating Slave is sometimes his arguments get debunked by his mistress. So that always cracks me up. Okay, Kezia, anything you want to add real quick before we get into the heart of it?
No, just go ahead with it.
Favorite British dating coach. That's a good introduction. All right, cool. So let's get into it. So let's start off with this. What is the best dating strategy for men in 2023? So you're a young guy. You're not really successful with women, right? What should you do? And we can just basically open it up. You guys can go in any order.
Wait, can I answer?
Yeah.
I think a man has to be a gentleman. He has to be a good listener. I mean, I would first of all try and create a friendship. And if it goes sexual, fantastic. He can try to sexualize, but first build a friendship. Make sure, he can be a good friend of the woman, and that's the first test. I would also recommend having sex as soon as possible, because if there's no sexual compatibility, then wait, Austen, shush. If there's no sexual compatibility, that's a waste of time. So yeah.
You become friends first, and then you have sex as soon as possible. Those seem like 2 conflicting ideas right there.
Clearly, it's working well for him because he's on the floor on a leash. So don't take anything he says seriously.
This is kind of what I meant.
I like the idea of friends first, personally, because and Alex, when you started this, what you initially said is, what would be a good dating strategy for men?
Uh-huh.
Right. And so my husband and I, it's really interesting that we happen to have this conversation today, because I wasn't sure what we were going to talk about. But my husband actually, because as you said, I'm the no kissing for 3 months dating coach. And so my husband today said, why wouldn't a man want to to pick a woman who uses a no kissing for 3 months dating rule, because something that I hear often is the pushback is just go with the flow, right? Go with what feels good. So what my husband said is, if you pick the person who goes with what feels good, and you have a fight that day, and then she goes and she's somewhere else and happens to bump into somebody who makes her feel good about herself, better than how she's feeling with her current partner because she's fighting with him that day. And she goes with what feels good. She'll impulsively go with, well, you know what? He's making me feel good. My partner doesn't make me feel good today, but this guy is. I'm going to hook up with him today. I'm going to leave
100.
and
I
go.
agree with you 100%. Perfect strategy. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I think some of the panelists will disagree with that.
So,
Yep.
can I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No.
So I can't tell I can't. Sorry, the guy with the balaclava on. I can't tell when he's speaking or not. That's the problem. So I
Oh,
sometimes.
go ahead.
Thank you. So, Pew, I listened to what you said. For me, with my clients, is I teach them to establish sexual attraction as soon as possible. In theory, it sounds good, like be her friend first, get her in that kind of like that, get her to trust you, create that connection. And I think that works if you're in a slow burner situation. So if you're working in the office together, that will work. Yeah, build up trust. It's a slow burner. But if you're just meeting someone, in the street, in a bar, in a club, you want to establish sexual attraction very early on. Now, if you wait around a little bit and you start playing the whole 2-month rule, 1-month rule, build a friendship first, you've got some potential things that can go wrong. You can end up showing a lot more flaws and vulnerability. That's something that women generally are not attracted to in men. Men find it quite attractive in women in some cases. But if a woman is not yet attracted to a man, his vulnerabilities and his flaws and, his insecurities will potentially turn her off him. Another thing in like when they become friends is the guy can start going down I call him emotional tampon route. He starts becoming her agony uncle, things like that, listening to her problems. And that is taking another step away from sexual attraction, all those things. Now, if you've established sexual attraction and those things are fine afterwards, but they come after. So with my clients, I always tell them, no, you've got to establish attraction first. So that's my position on that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with Kezia here. A lot of guys that do want to wait a very long time to show sexual attraction, it's not because they're just friendly guys trying to think that they're doing the best. They're actually they have some form of sexual shame from either their like a smothering mother or their upbringing, or they feel like sex is wrong because of a religious belief, and it tends to come into their relationships and make them like overly nice guys in those relationships. And yeah, it turns women off. And oftentimes women see it as a sneaky mating strategy where you try to be the friend first and then you show them you have a dick. And women get absolutely repulsed by it because you're hiding your intentions behind this thinly veiled nice guy mask. So
100% on the money, that guy.
I actually kind of agree with you here too. The only difference is I don't think you can create this sexual attraction. I think it's either there or it isn't. It's instant as soon as you see them. You don't want to fall into the friend frame, because if you don't meet the looks threshold, like you'll automatically be put in the frame of a friend, and then she could never see you in that way because she doesn't desire you physically. I call those like friends, like orbiters, right? Like imagine you're the sun, Kezia, and you have like all these planets orbiting you, and they're your emotional tampons like 24/7, right? So you don't want to be in that. And yeah, just basically that, like the sexual attraction is instant. It's right away. You can't build it or create it. You can't force attraction.
No, I disagree with you on that. I've spoken about this before. Of course, looks matter, but there have been many men. This is why I don't do dating apps. There have been many men who, when I first saw them come into the bar or to the party, my first opinion of them was not for me, not my type. And then I saw that the way that they moved, the way that they interacted with other people, their body language, their humor, something just changed my opinion on them quite quickly, actually. Again, there are slow burners, but this isn't a matter of 5 or 10 minutes sometimes. Looks are important, but they're not everything. The way that for men, they're nearly everything. You know, if the woman's hot, you know, she can get away with so many flaws. But with, I mean, 3 things that men I find are looking for is how good looking is she available, and is she easygoing? In other words, is she compliant? Whereas women are looking for so much more. It's much more multidimensional.
So don't you think that like men who are more attractive would in general have better social skills because they're around women all the time?
They get better immediate feedback, so they tend to. But then again, a lot of my guys in my program are very good looking guys, and it hasn't really served them well. It served them well, maybe the initial reactions being quite good, but then they run out of things to say. They start self-deprecating, all sorts of, you know.
Can I ask you a question? Let's say
Wait,
like
can I also ask, when you guys are having a conversation, let me just interrupt. I have a question. I mean,
hang on. Let's let Lux Farrell go, and then you're right after him. So go ahead, Lux.
okay, so let's say like both of these guys have equal charisma, like social skills, etc. Except one guy's 6'3", 6'4", and very handsome, and the other guy's like 5'8", 5'9", and average looking. Who are you going to select?
The 6'3" one, of course. It's an unfair comparison, though.
No, I equalize for all factors except looks.
Seeing compatibility and integrity and honesty and devotion and loyalty and trustworthiness and financial responsibility and work ethic. What about that one?
Right, but in order to get there, you need to pass the looks threshold. Like if a woman doesn't find you attractive, you're not even getting there.
See,
you have to get past the looks.
Right.
Oh, can I ask? I'm going to ask a question to the ladies.
Wait, Austin, let's just let Chantel go because she was next, and then you're right after her, and then Slave.
Oh, okay.
Attraction is a procreation drive. It doesn't tell me anything about the person. So
it tells you their genetic worth,
yes,
so that when you have
it
children,
tell me consistency, character, honesty, integrity, being genuine about wanting a long-term relationship instead of lying about that to gain access to my body. Nothing about work ethic, like the ability to build a life with me, sharing my goals and timelines, the ability to make me laugh and work through problems with me.
Yeah, and again, all of that stuff will happen once he meets the looks threshold. If you're not attracted to the man, you're not going to give him the light of day.
Oh, I will.
Go, Austin.
I will
So
because
yeah, I have a question for the ladies, and it's relevant to this. So this is how I've always looked at it. It's like there's like guys that maybe 10% of guys, they're just so attractive to you, or maybe I don't know what it is. 2% of guys are so attractive. It's like there's a lot of leeway there. And then there's like this gray area. I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe 50% of guys, it's like you give them some kind of like leeway just to see if they're like kind of attractive. And then there's a group of guys, call it whatever, 40, 50%, where it's just like, this is not my type. No matter what he says, I'm not going to get swayed. Is that kind of fit how you think about this, or how your experience has been?
Are you asking me? No.
It's too.
Yeah, I'm asking the ladies.
No.
So anyone can jump in.
Well, let Chantel go first.
Sorry. Can you ask the question again? Because I went somewhere else where you're asking, because I thought you were talking to Lux. I'm sorry. Can you ask it again?
So there's like maybe for each different guy, like there's like this group. I call it like, it's almost like there's a gray area, right? There's some guys that it's like just a green light. He's amazing. He's attractive. He's top 5% of looks for you. And you're just like, wow, like anything he says is fine. And then there's like maybe 50% of guys where it's like a gray area. I don't know what it'd be, like a third of guys. You're just like, listen, I'll listen to what he has to say. If he's attractive when he's opening his mouth, then maybe. But then there's a group of guys where you're just like, absolutely not. No, doesn't matter what he says. I just can't get over, his 5 head or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, certainly I want a man who's a bit taller than me. I want to tip my chin up, not down when I kiss him. So I do have certain standards in terms of what it is that I'm looking for. But personally, I love average looking, because average looking becomes beautiful when you fall in love. My average looking husband is actually the sexiest man on this planet. And I'm telling you, the last time I ogled him like a fucking horny teenager was yesterday. So, I shit you not, was yesterday. Last time I made out with him was today. Like I make out with him every day, several times a day. When I first met him, I had zero attraction to him whatsoever. But the more, listen, I was a stripper when I met him. He was my client. So he was coming Wednesday night. So he certainly gave himself the opportunity to get to know me. I had a lot of opportunity to get to know him over 2 years as he was coming to see me. It took a few months, but the more I spent time with him, the more I liked him, because what was sexy about him was his confidence, his intelligence, his conversation skills, his work ethic, like his character, the person he is. And we're 17 years into this relationship, and I ogle him like a bloodthirsty teenager all the time, because he is the most incredible person I've ever met. He's still the smartest, still the sexiest, still the most interesting man in the world to me. There is zero competition. But this is somebody who went from zero to hero based on character and personality and integrity.
Damn, you make him sound like quite the man. I'm
You know what would be the ultimate
Wait,
plot
hold
twist?
on,
She's
hold on.
like, by the way, guys, you want to meet him? And she brings him on a leash into the room, just like Mr. Slave.
All
But
right,
yeah,
so,
I agree with what you said, and a lot of
wait,
what you
Austin,
said
you spoke.
actually
I didn't
hits
have a
on
chance
the.
to speak yet.
Can we
Okay,
do
let-
I'm sorry, guys. Can we do one at a time?
yeah, let's
Yeah,
let
it's my turn.
Kezia answer the question that Austin posed, and then we'll go to Slave. Sorry, Slave. I kind of skipped you there.
Yeah.
But yeah,
For
let's
me,
go-
if
let's let
he's
Kezia
super
answer.
hot, I'm less likely to believe the words coming out of his mouth, to be honest. I'm not looking for looks. I'm looking for character and personality, which is why I don't go by attraction. I say good enough is good enough. If you're kind enough, intelligent enough, on like when you show up on the first 2 dates, good enough gets you date number 3, because it's about who you are. And I don't go by a spark, because the spark is a procreation drive, has nothing to do with who you are.
Okay, let's let Kezia answer that question, then we'll go to Slave.
So the original question was, this 5% of men who are just extremely good looking, it's a done deal. Not true. I've had exceptionally handsome men approach me, and yes, the first thing I thought was, this is good. I'm optimistic about this. And then after 5 minutes, I'm just like, guy's a loser. I don't mean a loser in terms of he hasn't achieved anything with his life. I mean, he's got a loser mentality, or he doesn't know how to talk, or he's insecure about something, or he can't take the shit tests, something like that. And it's inconsistent, that initial good looks confidence, which a lot of guys have. It's initial good looks confidence, but it's not consistent. So I don't agree with that. And then you've got like the 85% of men or whatever, which are kind of average, a bit above average, bit below average. Now, they're the guys who, I've dated. I have dated many guys who are in that category. And the first thing I thought was, he's okay, but, no, probably not. Because I am a woman that is kind of drawn to looks a little bit more than the average woman, I would say. But after speaking to them, as I said, they had good game, whether that was natural or not, doesn't matter. They had good game. They knew how to use validation. They were unapologetic, all the things, we can't go through the whole list of what women are looking for, the attractive qualities in a man. But then you've talked about this very small percentage of men who are really ugly. We're talking really, really ugly here. They will struggle a lot more. But I found that the ones who are in that position, because they've had to work so much harder, they're usually not good looking for their whole life. They haven't sort of experienced that they were very good looking at high school and then they lost their look. So usually when they're that unattractive, didn't have very good features their whole life. So they go one or two ways. They either get very depressed and they give up on life, or they try fucking hard. They work so hard that it's astonishing. And I have met some of these guys. They are rare, but my God, the women that they get is unbelievable.
Okay, let's go to Slave because he's been waiting. Go ahead.
All right. So, like for a dummy dum-dum, like looks for L. So maybe in the beginning he looks handsome. Like I agree with Kezia and with Chantal. So initially he might be very impressive. He might get a chick to stay with him, but if I am able to be around them in the long run, then I would be able to make her fall in love with me. I've done this consistently many times. So there could be a very handsome guy, very successful. It doesn't matter because in the long run, it's exactly as Chantal presented it. It's being smart and being a good conversationalist and giving good advice and a good listener. It's many parameters that looks for L in a million years has no idea, how to do any of this.
Looks for L. Mr.
Oh, I'm
Slater.
targeting
thank
looks
you.
for L because he never speaks to me.
He's
Yeah,
gonna
well,
he's gonna
listen,
steal your girl.
I just want to say,
Kezia, your face, you're like, what did I get into here?
I just want some tips on how to be dominant, Slave. It seems like you're really good at that, so I could use some pointers. Like in how to make a woman fall in love with me. Like, do I have to be on a leash as well and like do whatever my owner says? Will that get me girls?
I don't understand. Are you asking me?
Props to Alex for putting this agglomeration of people together.
I know.
He's being
This is what I was telling you. Yeah, I was
just
like, yeah, this is my point. You need that range to get like a really lively debate. Okay, looks for L. Let's not make it personal.
Yeah. Just a joke.
You're good.
Yeah.
Let's get back on track.
So, okay, we were talking about like incels and how you were saying they work really hard, so that's admirable. I mean, that's like cute to say, but like the reality is like all these guys aren't getting laid. They're depressed. Like a lot of them like subscribe to the black pill because they understand how important looks are. They do all the gym maxing, they learn game, they do this, that. They still don't have any results. I mean, I'd say that's even more damaging than not trying at all.
Okay, looks for L. I'm a moderator, so I don't want to get into this debate, but I will just bring this up because I think it'll kick off the discussion more. So I had a client actually fairly recently. He was 20 years old, and he told me he was ex-black pill. And he said that for a big period of his life, he thought he wasn't good looking enough to get girls. So you would expect this guy to be pretty ugly. This guy was better looking than me. He was like what I would rate a 7-ish. If I wish I asked his permission because then I could show his photo, but take my word for it. He was a good looking guy. And for a big period of his life, he was convinced that he was just too ugly to get girls. And like even though he's like kind of recovering from that, still to this day, it like permeates in his. So whenever he has a bad date, when we do a call, he's like, man, I think it's because I wasn't good looking enough for her. I was like, dude, like, you gotta scrap that. Your game just sucks balls. But he just lost his virginity, a few weeks ago, from actually going out and practicing games. So like that's clearly an account of someone who's like ex-black pill for whom the black pill wasn't doing them any favors. So I guess maybe this anecdote will like further fuel the discussion.
It's not, listen, but if it looks for L, if you go look at my website, you see the video testimonials I have. Some of the guys that, by their own admission, are not very attractive. It's not anecdotal evidence. It's videos there. You can go look at them. Some of them are very handsome. The majority of them are just average looking guys, but some of them, one guy was like he had a disability. He was like, you could really see that it was something that you couldn't just kind of put makeup on. So yeah, I've helped loads of guys who, were following this kind of black pill bullshit. And, they finally took action and learned game essentially.
And
I'll jump in too. I have same thing as Kezia. I have tons of testimonials of guys that are like, fatter or shorter or out of it or whatever, and they still get results. And you can see like literally infield of them doing that. And that, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like it is going to be harder for them, right? But as Chantal said, there's tons of other things that women look for, and it's not just looks based. And that goes even down to this guy. David Buss, evolutionary psychology. This is a literal testable field of science. And one of the things that they have 6 adaptive problems that women look for. They want a mate who's able to invest, willing to invest, able to physically protect her and her children, shows good parenting skills, who's compatible in terms of values, similar ages, similar personalities, and a mate who's healthy. So there's like a variety of things that women look for, and there's tons of different qualities within each one of those that they find attractive. So
yeah, and so female attraction is really multidimensional. So for instance, and it sounds very superficial, some of the things I'm going to say, but regardless of that, it's still multidimensional. So for instance, if a guy meets a woman and she's beautiful, she's a 9, and she turns around and says, I'm a barista for Starbucks, she's still a 9. But if she turns around and says, no, I own my own company, I'm a multi-billionaire, self-made billionaire, he will then admire that, her achievements, he'll admire it, but she will still be just as attractive as the barista. Whereas if a woman's talking to a man and he says, oh, you know, I'm in a rock band or whatever, some sort of attractive job that men do, suddenly his value rises and his attraction levels raise also. So just that one example, and I have another, 100 examples of ways that guys can make, these hairline shifts in what they're saying, hairline shift perceptions in them, just things that they say in the way that they say it. Whereas men are not like that at all. So I think a lot of guys out there are looking through the lens of what men find attractive in a woman and just presuming that that's what women are looking for too.
All right.
Let's let Looks for Elle respond, and then it's all you, Chantal.
Yeah, so I agree with the fact that many men look at the male gaze rather than the female gaze. However, we're going to disagree on like some things. Like, for example, like we have to talk about age brackets too when you're talking about the jobs, right? Because in college or like early 20s, girls aren't really going to care about that. They just care how you look. I feel like that happens later in life, that you need to have the whole package, right? Shoot, I forgot. Oh yeah, in terms of
I'll disagree with that there, because women in college, they'll pay attention to men that are a part of different groups as a way to their social status.
Well, I mean, if you're
Sports
talking about
teams,
athletes, I mean, athletes
they'll also pay attention to like different clubs, and also like to further what Kezia said, women are more multitudinal and why they have sex. So there's like a book where they go into 237 different distinct reasons why women have sex. And there's a book with, I forget the name. Oh, it's Why Women Have Sex. It's by 2 psychophysiologists. And then there's the joke in the book. They're like, if there was a book on why men would have sex, it would be like 4 pages. It would be like the 4 reasons men have sex.
Is it that many? I thought it was 1.
Yeah, you're adding too many reasons.
It's ass, legs. Yeah. All right, go ahead, Looks for Elle.
Yeah, the other thing is like a lot of dudes, like they look at the male gaze and they're like, oh, I want to be giga jacked on roids and like look like Brock Lesnar or whatever. But the ideal like aesthetic physique is more of like a lean, muscular physique, or just ideally having like low body fat percentage, because if a guy's overweight, he's immediately undesirable, and that's something within your control. So for like the things you can change immediately, I would argue you should like lose weight if you're overweight. That's like something you need to do instantly. Yeah, and you need to like strengthen your jawline, so you have like a stronger jawline, better ramus bone. There's plenty of things you can do to looks max to improve, but you just can't change your face too much and your height, which is like kind of most of it. But you can still do some things.
Why do people keep saying you can't change your height?
Use face yoga to change your face, by the way.
How can we change our height, Austen?
No, height you can't. You're fucked.
Austin just said you can change your height.
You can.
Are you you're talking about the height increasing surgery? We had.
There's. It depends on what your price point is.
You can.
There's 3 price points.
Like 2 inches.
If you have $15, you can get shoe lifts for when you first meet a girl. For $60 to $200, you can get specialty shoes, and then there's like for the people that really like want it or need it, and you're a baller, you can do limb lengthening surgery. So
right, Paley Institute. Don't you think you would be deceiving her by wearing lifts? Like when you're gonna, take off.
Isn't it deceptive for women to wear makeup?
I actually agree with you.
There's a whole rabbit hole you can go down with that. So.
I mean, yeah, but then you can take it so far as to like start face apping like every photo, and then she sees you in person, she's like, who is this person? You know, they won't even recognize you. There's like a level you can do. Like if you're 5'11", I guess you can go up half, like an inch or two, like just 1 inch. But you don't want to be like,
who would face app every photo, bro? That's
who would do that.
Really, some insecure YouTuber or something like that.
Eventually you're gonna have to take off your shoes, and she'll see you, and she'll be like, "Why have you been deceiving me? Like you could have just been honest." But then she wouldn't have liked you at that point. You know what I mean?
If you take off 1.5 inch boots and you take them off, she's gonna be like, "Why have you been deceiving me all this time?"
I mean, let's let Chantal go, because I think you had a point earlier. Go ahead.
So we're talking about like attraction and the difference between what men are attracted to versus what women are attracted to. And if I were to like just nutshell it down to like just dumb it down as much as I possibly could. I think men tend to be attracted to signs of fertility. So youth, glow in the cheek, a little bit of fat in the breast, the buttocks, and the thighs, whereas women are attracted to signs of capability.
Not necessarily. I mean, that may be part of it. Also, like being tall is an indicator of good genetic health. I'm sure we would all agree here that like height is extremely important, right? I mean, we can't gloss over that. Even you mentioned you want to look
right.
up.
No, I think hair is important for women. Hair, good hair on a
No, I'm
man.
talking about.
Strong
Oh,
genetics. The hair thing is big.
Yeah, that's why I'm really successful, because I have
yeah,
a really
why are you taking shots at Alex?
My
Oh,
husband
weird.
is
Just
so
wear a wig.
balding. It's so balding. My husband, his hair is going.
Oh, listen,
And let me tell you,
when you love someone, you don't care if they've got one eye. You love
oh
them.
yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
Like
different.
balding
Love is
men are
so
attractive to me at this point because I'm so attracted to a balding man.
Okay.
Well, Cyclops, they have more testosterone if they're a Cyclops. So
Thanks for that contribution, Austin. Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Well,
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah, of course, like having hair on your head matters a lot, obviously. Height matters a lot. Your looks matter a lot. I don't know what we're necessarily disagreeing on. Like the hair, I actually agree with you. I think balding is like a huge killer. If some guy's really old, huge killer. If he's short, huge killer. If he's ugly, huge killer.
You know something? But hold on a second. There are bald guys or guys with receding hairlines that I would sleep with, no problem. And I can name you some famous guys, no problem. I would sleep with them. So look, it goes back to it's an advantage. Good looks, it's an advantage. But there's a lot of men out there who doesn't matter what they do. They can do face yoga, go to the gym. They're still going to be in that average bracket, right? That's where, people like me, dating coaches come in and show them, right, you do not have that advantage. Let's make your game exceptional. And that becomes your advantage. It's the same. I said this on the previous one that I did with Alex. If you compare me to 25-year-old Kezia, I can't compare. 25-year-old Kezia would walk into a room and I would be like in the shadows. Now who I am. But now I've had to work on things like my character, my sex appeal, lots of different things. It's like, yes, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but you've got to get on with it and do it.
Well,
just for a second, everyone take a second to visualize different Kezias walking in the room.
the thing is, you're a pretty girl, and like.
Wait, Alex, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, Slave. We haven't heard from you in a while, so go ahead.
Because I think we all agree, but we're not taking one parameter into consideration. We're not adding it into the equation. I mean, there are different women that are looking for different things. Maybe you could have one woman, hair for her on the man is really important. For another woman, intelligence. For another woman, it's the money. For another woman, it might be a submissive guy. For another one, maybe a really dominant guy. Like we went to a Halloween party and I was being paraded nude basically in front of 1,000 people. And I was being spanked and whipped. And there was one girl, one really pretty girl, and she walked up to my owner and she kept saying, "What a cutie! I want this guy. What a cute!" And she,
it's a fetish. It's called fetish. It's called a fetish.
Right. Exactly. Fine. So everyone has his match or matches. So if you find a woman and she doesn't find you so appealing, just continue looking. Because you might be able to find that one woman who finds you the sexiest man in the universe. So just keep looking. And we need to add this parameter into the equation. Different women have different preferences.
You know what? Can I just say, I love what you just said, Slave. The one for you, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one who's looking for me, not for the person looking for somebody.
I'll jump in and say there's things that women are obviously idiosyncratic, and you can't define all women in like one category, but there are things that in general women are more attracted to on average. So I think that's an important distinction. It's like on average, women are more attracted to dominant men, more attracted to taller men, more attracted to XYZ. So.
General
right,
rule.
but if I'm not dominant, why should I change? Why should I pretend to be something I'm not? I can't,
Wait.
No,
there are
you
women,
shouldn't.
hold on,
And if
there
you're
are
if you're
women,
fully
one second,
you're
That's
fully the
exactly what
slave, that's good.
women
He's
that
owning his
I've
fetish.
had.
He's owning his fetish. That's attractive. He's not hiding. He's there. He's got his mistress,
Kezia, stop
holding.
saying fetish. Kezia, stop saying. No, it's not fetish. It's no, it's not fetish. You're
Well,
completely wrong. Stop.
Okay, well, the jury's out on that.
What would you call it,
No,
slave?
I know who I am. It's not a fetish. That's who I am. I hate being dominant. I find it completely, utterly disgusting. It's repugnant. I want to throw up when Alex speaks about, how he's dominant. He's gonna tie a girl. I find it physically, nauseating.
That's Alex's fetish.
I'm sorry.
Slave, are you confident?
Yes, obviously you can see. I mean, I'm in most scenarios, social scenarios, I'm dominant. But with a woman that I love, I just want to be submissive. That's all I want. Not even all, but a lot of the time, I want to be submissive.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm dominant because I want to be submissive. I'm sorry.
Slave, can you tell us the keys to slave game?
Can he suck her heel? Will you
I'm
suck her
telling
heel?
you the keys to the
Yeah,
slave
yeah.
game.
How do we
Can you
slave
suck
max?
her heel?
How do we slave max?
I'm explaining exactly. I mean, first of all, you need.
Give her heel a blowjob.
He's been a slave for 4 months in his entire life. Like, he's never been a slave before me. He's not my best slave, so I wouldn't go by what he says for slave maxing.
Roasted.
That's it.
Damn.
Your
Yeah,
slave,
yeah,
your slave game is
he'll do
cringe.
it
That must take a hit at the confidence there.
I've been asked to do this role so many times. I've had guys offer to send me so much money to do this role, what this lady's doing now.
Yep.
I would love to do it. I would be. Anyway, there's another story.
1.5 mil.
You're
Let's
Nicole
do it.
should network. Nicole, can you ask slave to suck on your heel?
What is it?
What did you say, Alex?
Can you ask Nicole? Can you ask slave to suck on your heel?
Yeah.
Slow, not fast. Slow.
Well,
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's watch. Come on. Slow it. Nice and slow.
As he's like getting off.
They can't see it.
As he's like beating off.
Wait, take notes. Take notes. This is a confident man here.
Because if you need to turn off your camera and do what you gotta do,
I'm
that's
so
fine.
sorry about this
No,
ridiculous.
Oh my god.
I wish I had my gag. I left it at my actually.
Right, this stream's got to go private now. We gotta.
Yeah.
Talking
Can
about.
we bring up something that we talked about
Loved
earlier?
it.
All right,
Loved it.
we need the Lord. We need to
I
return
also-
to God.
I told you, Kezia, it was going to be a good stream. Okay, let's get back to the discussion.
Wait, Nicole, my owner wants to say something.
I'm sorry. I
Inshallah.
think that. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I think that it also has to do with the woman for what they are looking for. Because, for instance, I think that a lesser attractive woman or someone who has less confidence might not believe that they can get a attractive man. So when they see an attractive man, they just look at him like, oh, he's out of my league. I'm not even going to bother trying. So they don't even look at that as an option.
Well, girls aren't approaching guys. It's 99% of the time the guys approach you, and you have endless supply of options, so you can have your pick of the litter.
Yeah, but I'm saying on dating apps and stuff like that. I do know some women who aren't as confident. So on dating apps, they'll swipe left on the really hot guys and they're we're not compatible because we have nothing in common because he's gorgeous and I'm they're aware that so
That's really strange because I think women on the whole have a very overinflated view of themselves
Yeah.
because of their Instagram accounts, and they believe that those photographs actually look like them after a while.
What Nicole's saying, I've actually heard from other girls. It's kind of like a limiting belief. You think you're not good enough for this godlike man. I've actually heard that from other women as well.
There's
yeah,
also other women that will be poaching your mate. There's other women that will be competing for that same guy, and a lot of people. That's one reason why some men will not like the top echelon of women is because they have to deal with a lot of male competition and a lot of the male gaze.
That's sort of true.
On the same aspect, though, I've met gorgeous men that are really nice and have great personalities, and then I've met really unattractive men that have terrible personalities.
Right. I noticed in the beginning, like when we were talking about a good-looking guy, the assumption was always that he has like a bad personality, right? Like it's always because he's good looking, he can't have a good personality, he can't be kind, he can't be this, this, that. Like we're making these negative assumptions just because he looks like a fuckboy and he gets a lot of girls. So we're kind of telling ourselves these nice things so that like we can spare ourselves the harm, you know? I feel like girls like do this quite often. Like they'll stay with a boyfriend who's like not good for them, but they stick around because he's really attractive. I mean, this happens all the time.
That makes sense to me as a woman, because for reproduction purposes, like I don't know if I'd ever date or be with an unattractive man, because
Right.
if I have children, which I want to have
Yeah.
children, I don't want my children not to be ugly.
You don't want them to be incels. Exactly. You want your genetic lineage to continue. I completely understand. I'm glad we have some common ground.
Can I interject? I've had children and I don't want any more. So what am I looking for?
Well, what does your husband look like? How tall is he?
No, I divorced him.
Oh, you divorced him? Well,
So
did
my
his looks
question
change?
for you, Kezia, would be, when you had kids, did you have kids with an attractive man or an unattractive?
Yeah, he was.
What do you
he
think?
Was,
What do you
he
think?
was a 7. He was a 7.
Okay, yeah.
But he was French. So French guys,
Does he have blue eyes?
Charming.
they had black eyes, actually. I like dark eyes in guys.
How tall is he?
5'11".
How tall are you?
5'5".
Okay, got it. Okay.
But anyway, the point is, what am I looking for now? I don't want any more children. Not interested at all. That shop is closed. But I'm.
Can you still have children?
I still have children.
Like, is it even possible?
Yeah,
No,
she's not.
I'm too old, and
That's what I
also
was asking. Yeah.
I'm too old and I'm too vain. No.
Yeah. Got it. I don't know what you're looking for.
I do think there's different stages in lives. If a woman's had children and stuff, and she's looking for different things, for sure. I think a lady who's younger than me, like the mistress of Slave. Sorry, I've forgotten the name. Mistress
Nicole.
Slave. Nicole. Sorry, I didn't mean to. So I think like someone in Nicole who's a lot younger than me, she's going to be looking for those kind of like, attributes more.
But okay, so I'm just thinking in my head though, if it were later on in my life and let's say I do have kids, I still don't know if I would go for an unattractive man, because I don't know, why would I want to have sex with an unattractive man? And then at the same point, I work out, I take care of myself because I want to look a certain way. So why do I want someone who doesn't put the same effort into themselves,
Exactly.
I want someone who also cares about themselves and cares about themselves enough to take care of themselves, versus someone who's like sloppy and like just like doesn't really care about their health. It's just not the same
So
lifestyle. So it's not very compatible, in my opinion.
Right. I don't have any disagreement.
Just like a panel question.
Uh-huh.
It's choosing either or. If you had to choose to teach somebody who's an amazing person what your body likes versus somebody who immediately knows what your body likes, but you have to try and teach them how to be have integrity. You have to teach them to have integrity, have honesty, have loyalty, have work ethic, have financial responsibility. Which one would you choose? Would you choose a person who has the loyalty, responsibility, work ethic, but you got to teach them how your body likes to be touched? Or would you choose a person who gets it right from the beginning, and then you got to teach them how to have work ethic and responsibility and loyalty and honesty?
I choose the first person. I'd rather have to teach them what I like physically than have to teach them how to be a person.
Yeah, I think everyone would pick that.
Right. I mean, the framing of that question is like, yeah, of course.
And that's the frame when you're prioritizing sexual compatibility over the personality and character versus using a no kissing for 3 months dating rule, picking somebody who has all the character traits you need and then teaching them how to use the hardware, because it's a learning curve anyways.
I think
Yeah,
I think more I think the question would be more like, if you had to pick, relevant to the discussion, if you had to pick between a guy who's ugly but has a really good personality, or a guy who's really good looking but has a really bad personality, and that would be like a tough choice, I think.
I'm
What's
talking
bad
about the
personality? What's bad personality that's so ambiguous? What is bad personality?
just someone like
He's
not honest,
socially awkward.
doesn't have work ethic.
He simps.
rude.
He's rude to the waiters. He overcompensates
Yeah.
all the time. He gives off that small dick energy.
Wait, well, how would it be viewed as small dick energy and compensating if he's good looking? These things are congruent if you're a good looking guy. What's seen as compensating is if like a 5'3" guy hits the gym and he's roided out, and like women are like afraid of him. Like, notice how women describe men who are ugly as creepy and good looking men as charming. Like, it's no coincidence that like the only differing factor, if they say the same exact sentence, is their looks and their appeal to the woman.
He's
What do
right
you-
on that point. He is right on that point, and that's why like, most of my clients who are not in that good-looking category, that's why there are ways to build attraction and to show intent in a non-creepy way. The biggest mistake that men make is they're ashamed of their sexual desire for that woman, of their intent. They're ashamed, they're embarrassed, and that's why nice guys always get mislabeled as creepy. You think a nice guy wouldn't be creepy. He's the nice guy, but women often think he's creepy because he's. Have you ever heard of things called anti-game? It's when you like someone a lot and they know you like them, but because you're playing not to lose rather than playing to win, you're not making a move on them. You're not showing their intent, and those two things collide, and it creates what I call anti-game. And that's something that a lot of guys do.
I see anti-game on my channel almost every single night, but yeah, I agree.
The thing is, like, I have to say that like the nice guy thing necessarily isn't even that bad as long as you reach her looks threshold. Like, there's a certain threshold where a woman will let a lot of shit slide just because she physically desires you so much. Like, you could be a terrible boyfriend, you could do all these bad things, or you could be really good. The qualities like are perceived differently based on how you look. It's kind of my point.
It's not. That's not true. So there's guys who will in a very clever way, they will put the woman in a certain position of insecurity, and they will frame everything in a certain way, which makes her kind of addicted to him. A lot of these women also are kind of drawn to toxic relationships. So it's not. I don't think it's just looks. I mean,
do you think it's?
Wait, let her finish.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I've been with very handsome guys. One of them, he was classically handsome, very successful, and he was just the bad guy in every sense. And I just said, I'm done. First it was fun, and now I'm done. This is it.
So Chad had his way. He had his way.
If you want to play that game, you've got to. So the good guy and the bad guy, there's different aspects to it. So the bad guy has to show moments of vulnerability. He has to show little glimpses of the good guy if he really wants to get into that whole manipulation tactic with a woman. He wants to make her addicted to him. And the good guy has to show elements of the bad guy in the way he fucks, for instance. So a good guy, he's very polite, he picks her up on time, he buys her flowers, and then he fucks her really, like, he's very dominant in bed and quite vicious.
Okay.
The shadow side. Shadow side is what manipulates people. I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here. So
yes, my theory is you've been with good-looking guys. You notice they fucked you over quite a bit, so you're like, wait, maybe I should give a nice guy a try. And as you've gotten older, yeah.
No, not at all. No, some of my best relationships have been of guys who are not attractive. That's not.
That's what I'm saying.
I've had both. Honestly, it's 50-50. Some of the good guys have been, some of the good-looking guys have been amazing guys, and some of the ones that weren't so good-looking and they gamed me, they ended up being not so nice. Honestly, it's 50-50, but that is, anecdotal evidence. So,
but it's funny how you point out like when the good-looking guy has a bad personality and like he did this and that to you, but not the bad-looking guy.
I can pick you. Okay, the worst boyfriend I ever had. I was very young though, and he was a 4, and I ended up with him for 2 years, and that was definitely the worst boyfriend I ever had, and I was totally addicted to him. So there, I can give you another. I've had a lot of boyfriends, so I could, I just picked that one. This guy who was the classic. He owned a nightclub. He was quite famous in the UK. Very handsome. And after about 6 months, I was done because he didn't have the shadow side, which was the good side. He didn't show almost the vulnerable side that conflicted. There was that wonderful contradiction with the bad boy image he had. That's when guys really get it right, when they understand how to play with their shadow side, and women too, by the way.
Let's let Slave say something because he has his
Yeah,
hand.
it's something that I'm noticing, that I could replace Looks for L with a bot, and I would always get the same response. He's just always, notice how you have to look good. No, I mean, I'm curious, Mr. Looks for L. I mean, in a relationship, besides, I don't know, talking about how good you look, do you have anything else to say? I'm just wondering, because it's all that's your go-to topic. That's all you have, or do you have anything else?
Did
I
you
don't
notice
like
how
it,
like
'cause he doesn't talk.
immediately look I'm having trouble having a serious conversation with a guy on Leash, but I'm gonna try here, okay? So just because I have a black pill ideology, and because I value looks, what's to say that there isn't more to me? Again, it's like this assumption that's like, just because you think looks are so important and this, that, you're automatically like a bad person, you have no game. It's like, immediately you have to say like, what's wrong with this person? Like, it's just kind of weird, how immediately it's like a negative assumption. And I'm a black pillar, so of course this is what I'm going to discuss. I mean, that's why I'm here.
But it's also, it is probably something innate in humans. If a man is so overly focused on his looks or looks in general for men, there's an inherent like assumption that there is something wrong, and that is probably like an evolved thing, because men throughout, since the dawn of time, the way they got status was largely through hunting, right? If you're a really good hunter and you procure like a big fucking, animal for the tribe, everyone hears about it. They go, fuck, this dude's like high status. And then that has literally transmuted itself into like other ways of status and lifestyle in the modern era. So I think if you're too preoccupied about looks, it's an inherent thing in humans where they go like, what the fuck, like, what about all these other things? I think there's probably a reason for that.
Why do you think all these guys are in the gym now? Like almost like all guys are gym maxing to the extreme.
Well, there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the things is for sure looks is part of that. But physical strength, showing that you have the ability to protect your woman, is incredibly attractive, right? Also, it changed your mindset too. Part of the reasons why I hit the gym is I feel more strong and capable as a man, and I can take that into other areas of my life. That's another reason.
Let's let Chantel go because I think she has something to say for me.
Just a little kind of like a panel question. And I'm gonna kind of direct this to the men, because Alex, when you started this, you said, this is like about dating advice for men. Like, how can men get into relationships? So I'm kind of like directing this to the men here. Is as a man, there's a point where you're going to find out her toxic traits, if she has them, her flaws, if she has them. Is it better for a man to find out after he's had sex and become connected to her, or is it better for him to find this stuff out before he gets connected?
You're not a man. She's talking to men.
I would say my opinion is before, but yeah, I'll let the other people answer.
Yeah.
Can you restate the question?
Yeah, go ahead. You can say
it. So as a man, is it better for a man to find out, like, let's say she has toxic traits, just whatever to you consider toxic, that you're like, man, if I knew this beforehand, wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Is it better for him to find this out after having sex and being more connected to her emotionally, like being, I'm in love with her, I have feelings for her, I'm devoted, like I'm building my life around her, like I see this going long term, and then he finds out her toxic traits, and then it's like, okay, dealing with the fallout of this. Is it better for him to find out those toxic traits before getting so connected, or after?
Well, what do you find is getting so connected? Like having sex once, or like seeing her for a period of
No,
like a month?
having sex enough that you're like, this is somebody that I can see myself building a life with, and then you
Yeah,
find toxic traits.
yeah. So I'll tell you what I do is after I have sex with a girl once or twice, I'll literally give her the dark triad test so I can figure out what her toxic traits are, because a lot of them really just stem from the dark triad.
What's the dark
So I'll
triad?
give her the dark triads: Machiavellianism, psychopathy, and narcissism. So each of those has its inherent advantages and disadvantages.
It's like an online
Machiavellianism is
quiz,
basically the end
Chantel. Yeah,
justifies the
it's like an
means.
online. Yeah, it's like an online quiz that Austin. It's actually a really good idea that he sends to girls. It's like an online quiz you fill out and tells you if you're like.
Wait, you send someone an online quiz after you have sex with them?
Yeah, that's kind of
No,
goofy.
No, I'll just be with them and be like, hey, like take this quiz. Let's see if we're compatible
you
on
want
it.
to find
And
this
then
out after having sex and not before, and after a couple times, but not so many that you get so attached.
I mean, I'll bang a girl where I'm just like, I'm worried she's
Right.
gonna stab me afterward if she's hot enough, you know.
Right.
So,
What are you
so
referring to as
I'll
toxic?
roll those dice, but I'm a gambling motherfucker. But
Ditto.
yeah, I would do it. I would bang pretty much any girl that is attractive, fun, and I get general good vibes from. And if she's a train wreck, I often can see that from a mile away anyway, because I see all the signs:
Right.
tattoos, tons of piercings, smoking cigarettes, flight attendant. Like I don't know, I just have a list of things that I know, so I can tell her what her Instagram looks like.
I disagree with you on the tattoos part, but everything else, yeah, you're probably right.
I think like most guys like intentionally ignore the red flags just because they want to bang. So they'll worry about that later. If they want to take a girl serious, I think they'll know right away. Like whether she's like high quality material for marriage or a long term relationship or just like a quick fuck, you know? It's immediately you'll make that distinction in your head.
I want to say one point before I forget it, and it's for anyone listening and they're like, they do find themselves getting sucked into black pill stuff. It's just put your photo on photofeeler.com and you can literally get yourself rated, put up like your 3 best pics or whatever, and just get a general gist of like how attractive you are, because a lot of guys will be like, you know what? I'm a fucking sub 5 and I'll never get a girl. And they put a photo up and they're like, girls are rating them a 7 or an 8 or something.
Yeah,
and they're just like, oh.
I mean, there's a lot of virtue signaling going on. Also, height is something you can like see for yourself. You don't need to ask anyone, right? There's data on this. You can see where you fall. So the face.
But my main point is that men are typically horrible judges of what are good photos. Like,
I mean, I can agree with you there.
1,000% agree.
Especially people are really bad at judging themselves. You ever see a photo of like you in a group and you're just like, everyone else looks great, but look at me, look at my fucking like my dimple isn't flexing. You know, it's
well,
like
guys don't know how to
people
take proper photos. That's the main thing. Not necessarily that they think they look bad. They just don't know how to take the right photos, which is something I agree with Alex on. But just to take it a little easy on the face app, that's the only thing I have to say about that.
Whoa. Let's not fire those shots. Kezia, you mentioned that you have...
Wait, can I say something? I mean, I actually look for toxicity. I mean, the more toxic, the better. But it's a specific toxicity, obviously. I mean, I like being used and abused. Like if a girl, she likes being used and abused, then that for me is toxic. So it really depends on my personality, her personality. The definition of toxic, it's really...
Wait, are you saying that Nicole is toxic?
No, we're not together. No.
She's very toxic.
Mr. Slave, do you find that's a way to process things that have happened in your life? Like, almost like a therapy?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, I like, my childhood was traumatic, and I'm looking for women who behave, as abusive as I was abused in my childhood. So it might have something to do with it. Who knows? I don't care.
Yo, Kezia, you said, I think you said you got to go, right?
Nicole, has he cleaned your toilet yet?
He did that with his tongue.
No way.
Good.
Okay, please, everyone, don't ask her, please, to do anything to me, because you will. So be careful.
I will love every second of it, mate. Okay, so
Taking all the requests.
Yes.
Any requests?
I was on Greg's show the other day, and Greg says, "Whip him." So she starts whipping me with a bullwhip, and it was very painful. So please,
Oh
don't.
my god.
that's code for do it again.
Nicole, get the butt plug.
Yeah, Nicole, you want to go on like a slight whip, just like a little tease, you know?
Oh, go on. Let's do it. Come on.
On what?
They want to see a slight whip.
Go. I
Just
want to see
something light, you know?
whip. I want to see
Oh, you
blood.
don't have your bullwhip?
I do. It's too big though.
Yeah, it's too big. It's too big. It's too big.
That's what she said.
No, it's okay. It's fine. We'll wait.
Yeah, no rush.
No, we don't need to do that. It's too painful.
Alex, this is how your channel gets taken down.
Yeah, let's get back on track.
Listen, I've got to go now. I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for inviting me on. I think all your guests were wonderful and added so much
we're gonna go
value.
too.
Yeah, well, no, you guys can stay. No, Kezia told me beforehand that she can only stay for an hour because she has a prior
Yeah,
commitment.
so thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure to meet all of you. I really enjoyed it. So
Do you
thank
want to
you
plug
very
your
much.
channel real quick before you go?
Yeah, sure. Go to my website, kezia-noble.com. You can find me on YouTube, also Twitter, Facebook, all of those. Yeah, and it's about getting men real results with women. Okay, bye-bye.
No, take care,
Good stuff,
Kezia.
good meeting.
All right, let me redirect the discussion a little.
Alex, I'm
Yes.
actually going to head out too because it's 5
Okay.
o'clock. We need to go for dinner.
Okay.
I
worries.
this was fun.
You don't sound convinced, Chantel. You're
We
like,
had
this is
moments, Alex.
fun.
We had moments, my friend.
Yeah, cool. Well,
Um,
I appreciate you being a good sport. So yeah,
listen,
let's have you
you
on
and
again
I-
at some point.
we're on different sides of the equation, but I appreciate you because you were always respectful. You always treat your guests, even though you disagree with me, even though I see you guys in the comments after dissing me. But when we are in the comment or when we are here on the live, you absolutely give me my space to say what I need to say, and you do so with the utmost respect, and I do appreciate for that.
For sure. Yeah, I appreciate you being a good sport. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Do you want to plug your channel real quick?
Yeah. So Canada's Dating Coach will find pages and pages. You'll find my podcast, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, my TikTok, my Twitter. I have 10 books on dating and relationships. My bestsellers are No More Assholes and Fix That Shit. You'll find them on Amazon. If you go into the link tree in my bio on my Instagram or my TikTok, you'll see links to my audiobooks, my ebook bundle deals, Amazon.com. The What Book is Right for Me quiz. You can take that. It takes a few minutes, or not even, just a few seconds. But it's so super cute. It lists my books in the order you want to read them in. And yeah, just come. Like, I got tons and tons of content on TikTok. If anybody wants to learn more about what I say about how to find an amazing man and treat him so fucking well, it makes his head spin.
Cool. All right, awesome, Chantel. Appreciate you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, good meeting you.
All right, and then it's almost a sausage fest, but we got Nicole, so it's not
Dude,
official.
the whipping idea scared all the girls away, man. I don't know.
No, Nicole. I mean, fucking Kezia told me she had to go.
I actually have a client coming, so I actually do have to go too.
actually have
I'm
to
really
go too,
sorry.
Bro, all the girls
Cool,
are out.
Nicole. Wait, what is Slave gonna do when the client comes? Is he gonna like hide?
He's
in the
gonna walk
corner?
my dog.
Oh, okay, for like an hour.
Yeah, or do I don't know. I
Wait,
don't
so
care.
if you go for a walk with the dog, do you walk him and then he walks the dog?
My dog walks him.
Oh shit.
He's a dog.
In the hierarchy, okay, there's you are at the top. Then there's the dog and the slave. Who's got like the kind of like the dominance?
Puppy comes first.
Puppy. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, all right.
No, but when I take the dog, so it's my time to do some pickup.
Oh, your slave is rebelling, Nicole. He's
I don't care.
Oh.
Can we get like a quick bark before he goes?
Go bark. He actually doesn't. He's actually not from this country, so he doesn't understand how to bark. Woof.
Oh, woof woof.
No, because in every country it's different. Like every animal seems to make different sound.
what
every different
sound does it
country.
make in your home country? Like, what's the sound over there?
I don't want to dox myself.
Do it.
No.
Is there like a specific bark? Like, I don't think anyone will know. Like, based on the bark. It's like,
Different countries, dogs make different barks.
yeah, wait,
Yeah,
I-
it's actually a meme in Family Guy, when Stewie plays with with that game. So in different countries, like cow makes woo woo or something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, I learned something new
Definitely.
today. All right, cool. Appreciate you, Nicole.
Uh,
Appreciate you, Slave.
Bye.
Do you want to plug your shit, Nicole?
the shit.
I did. It's right down in.
Yeah, we put the name NYC_femdom
My
on
Instagram.
Instagram.
Cool. She's like slapping with her nose. All right, cool. Thank you guys. Have a good
Okay.
night.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. That
No,
was
Damn, in 5 minutes we scared every girl away. Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, that was the start. Yeah, unfortunately, I know Kezia told me she only had an hour, but that was a pretty fun. It was like way more amicable than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, the
Yeah.
one we did the last time Kezia was on, it got like way more heated. Her and who was it? Her and I think Wheat Waffles or the other guy. They were going at it. Like they
I
were
feel
just-
like I would just butt heads with her too much, and like we wouldn't come to any sort of consensus, you know. Plus, she's kind of cool. I would feel weird like commenting on some things.
yeah, Kezia is cool. Yeah, like she's definitely pretty chill.
Yeah.
Here's my text with Alex. Mr. Slave should make an appearance. I said jokingly. Alex goes, LOL, nah, I'm done with Slave. He's too annoying.
Yeah, I changed my mind. I was like, yeah, the entertainment is
Dude, the
entertainment
entertainment
value is
value
too
of the
high.
slave, like Chantel being like very professional, and then the slave just like on the floor is like,
And he's telling me about how
Oh
I
my
need to be
God.
confident. It's just
Dude,
weird.
did you see like the quick look of shock on Chantel's face when Slave was brought on? I was like watching her eyes, and it was like,
Baffling. She's never seen anything like that her whole life.
well, it is pretty fucking shocking when you're like, you know, like you're like more like professional and like whatever. You try to be like yeah, you just try to keep it professional, and then you see like a fucking dude on a leash wearing a mask.
Yeah. The funniest part to me is just that he's saying he's like a confident guy, and you know he gets bitches like nothing, you know, and she's just sitting there like, yeah, okay, bro, okay, bro.
Yeah, the best thing is that she often debunks him. So it's like you like at first glance you expect them to be like a team, but they're really not. Like quite
Right.
often, like his biggest kryptonite is actually the dominatrix because he will spend like 5 minutes making like this elegant, articulate point, and then she'll be like, no.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yo,
Yeah.
this guy says he was talking shit about the guests. He said those Austen, those aren't girls. They're over 30s and thus irrelevant.
Yo, fucking, I don't give a shit. Kezia's fucking hot.
That's what I was saying. I'm like, I feel like obviously 21 to 25-year-old girls probably the hottest, but
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
there's some women that take care of themselves really well, and like you'll see like a mid-30s woman that's just like stunning. So
I mean, makeup can work
Or obviously
wonders, bro. You never know.
Anyone,
What?
anyone who's saying that they would not hook up with Kezia is just straight up lying.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
the
she's
chat was
cool.
going off for her.
I like how some guys are like so critical and so picky. Meanwhile, they're like close to incels, like they're having no
Right,
sex.
right. It's
That chick was only 7.5, 8.5.
Dude, I put on my channel. It was my student approaching because Andrew Tate was like, "There are no supermodels pissing around in the middle of a shopping mall," and I literally disproved that. There's like, we went to the shopping mall. My student approached this woman who won like world's most attractive woman beauty pageant, whatever. So he literally talked to the most beautiful woman on planet Earth, and people in the comments are like, "She's a 6 at best, bro." It's like the standards for human beauty from the judges, like they like literally convened and determined she was the most attractive, but your opinion matters more.
Yeah, I mean, Kezia will have more matches than the whole chat combined for like 2 lifetimes. So I think it's funny. It's just funny, you know, when they say shit like that.
Yeah. It's pretty funny when
Bro,
these
we
guys
should get into some more black pill stuff. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
what do you want to talk
open-minded.
about? You know, I'm pretty sure black player.
Dude, well, this is kind of interesting because we got Alex who does online stuff, and then you're the black pill man. So
Yeah, I do online stuff too, because like you already know that there's attraction there since you already matched. You don't have to like waste your money and time meeting her somewhere, and you can invite her straight over. And if she desires
Yeah,
you
so like
enough,
the
she'll do it.
mismatch of men to women online is crazy.
Of course, oh yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. I ran my own experiment, kind of like Alex. Except I made a profile of a girl, but she wasn't overweight. She was just like decently good looking. And she got like 700, 800 in like 24 hours too. It was insane. It's just
Yeah,
like
dude,
so mind blowing.
the Beast girl. I did an experiment, this with the really fat girl. The girl,
Dude,
that's like,
and she was getting some guys that were like decent looking too. It was so sad.
dude, she had some guys that were like straight up chats. Like I
I
shit you
know,
not.
I know. I saw
Some
some
of the guys were
chatbots certainly.
like nines and shit. Yeah, she got 400. I did a video actually. I shot a street interview a few days ago where I went up to people on the street and I showed them a picture of like a Giga Chad and I showed them a picture of that fat chick. I was like, who do you think gets more matches on Tinder? And yeah, like a lot of people were like shocked. There was like, there's no way this girl is getting matches. She gets 5 times as many matches as the Chad.
Yeah, it's ballistic. That's how bad it is for dating in this year.
Oh yeah, this is true. Alex got more matches with his wig than regular Alex. That's true. When I put on a wig and fake tits, I got more matches.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll fuck
Then
anything
Giga
that
Chad?
moves. No, not than
Than
him.
the regular. So my regular,
now.
I did an experiment where became the ugliest tranny ever. Like I had a wig, I fucking fake tits. Like I think we edited out my beard, but that was about the extent of it. And yeah, that guy got like 50 matches in 24 hours versus my regular profile gets maybe like.
Dude, the crazy thing to me isn't really necessarily that they get matches because a lot of guys are just kind of swiping randomly. But I did the Tinder experiment with like the most unattractive, physically like unattractive woman I could find. And it's the fact that men were persistent over messages.
Yeah, that's how sad it is, right?
I was just like, no, sorry, you're gonna have to try harder. And like the guys are like
so over, bro. I feel so bad for this coming generation. Like these girls already think they're 10s and shit, and they're already matching with some Chad lights and maybe some Chads. It's just so sad.
This is what I disagree with. I mean, there's elements of why I do feel bad, but like I don't adopt this like pessimistic view. I think like guys can still do quite well if they take the right actions.
I mean,
so I have a question for you, Looks for L. What do you think is responsible for the rise of male virginity and the lack of sex that men are having on average?
I mean, you know what I'm gonna say. What do you think I'm gonna say?
I don't know.
It's because they're invisible to women. Most men are like average looking.
But if it's ceteris paribus, like if men have been generally the same attractiveness, why is there just now?
I can explain.
I don't know if you've seen those charts, like male virginity is like.
Yeah, I mean, I'll explain like multiple factors. So first of all, like back in the day, especially with the world wars and whatnot, a lot of the time, like women weren't working, so they needed to rely more on financial security. So they would settle for a guy who wasn't like a Chad because they needed to, right? They didn't have any other choice. Now, women are also able to have Instagram, Tinder. They can find guys from all across the globe, TikTok, everything, right? So their selection pool is much higher. They're much more aware of their SMV. Like, this shit didn't happen like 50, 60 years ago. So it's a dramatic shift. And all these girls like think they're 10 out of 10 because of all the simps, which boosts their ego and they think they deserve like a 10 out of 10 Chad when in reality they're just like a Becky, which is like a 5 out of 10. So
yeah, I agree in terms of global.
I think that's part of it, but I think it's oversimplistic. I think there's like multiple factors at play that you're missing here.
I mean, I just gave you 2 right off the bat.
I'll give you guys another factor. Is that everything that used to be a social event in real life is now online, right? So you used to have to go to the movie theaters to watch movies. You used to have to go to like a restaurant to pick up food. You used to have to like all these things that used to be like in real life is now just an app on your phone, right? To meet people, you used to have to go out to a bar or club. And now as education becomes more and more online too, it's like eventually universities are going to just get replaced. I feel like they're just going to be like online only. I don't know. But it's basically all those places where you'd have serendipitous meeting between people and also in-person groups are just being replaced by online groups. So it's like there's so much fewer options for these like serendipitous interactions between men and women to just happen.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. But at the same time, you'll meet someone you would have maybe never met before, you know, which is kind of cool too. So it's kind of bittersweet in a way.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, like there's some girls I would have never connected with if it wasn't for modern technology.
Right? And you want to bang these hot Latinas, so it's
I
a
do,
good thing in a way.
I do like my Latinas. That is true.
I also think that as bad as it is for most guys that are just kind of derping through life, if you get really, really precise about this stuff, you can have insane results. So there's some of my friends, I don't know if you've seen some of them, that they're doing this harem stuff or they're doing like intense promoting and then they supercharge it with like Instagram reels and stuff. They're having results that like were reserved for crazy Roman emperors and stuff. Like this guy fuck. Well, David Bond's one example, right? It's like he does he literally has harems. And then the guy, do you know Liam, Alex?
Who?
Liam
McRae. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's like, dude, he has like a bikini brand that he like brings
Yeah,
girls to.
We had a discussion. He was on his whatever. I talked to him several times. Yeah.
And then some of my other friends, like they'll do a model event where they have like the Ukrainian Playboy photographer, and he introduces the coolest Playboy girls, and they fly them out to like this event on a boat.
Oh shit! Lux Farrell is taking shots secretly in the chat. He's saying they're all fraud for L.
I throw in little shots here and there to talk to the chat, but no.
Well, when you see like how they do it over time, like I'm part of this group called the Alpha Circle, and it's basically like just 30 guys that they just all we talk about is like crazy like dating strategies like this. So I'll see like David building it up over time and like failing, and like he tries it in Nicaragua and then he fails, and then he'll try it in like somewhere else, and he starts like learning the skills. So he starts having threesomes, and he'll start having foursomes, and then it grows and grows on itself. And then he'll try it in other places, get better results. Other places, great results. So
I'm pretty sure David Bond was like paying these chicks to like pose for him. I don't think that's very honorable at all.
So that's the funny thing is it's the exact opposite, and he does it to his detriment, like not using his money and status and clout. He'll literally meet girls with dummy accounts with like 100 followers on it, and he's starting to think like maybe he should try, because most guys when they meet girls they'll be like, oh, look how cool I am, here's all the cool things that I do, and here's my whole spiel. They give it away too front end, but he makes them work for it to get and then he'll eventually show them like, hey, here's my YouTube channel. So the girls will end up liking him for him first, and then they get all the bonuses on the back end once they're, verified.
Yeah, that claim,
which I think is a pretty good strategy.
The whole claim against David Bond was made by who, which I think has been proven not to be a very trustable.
No, not just him. I've seen it like on a few different channels. I don't really know.
People then regurgitate.
The one who shall not be named.
Yeah, we don't need to discuss that. Let's keep it on like Black Pill shit. Yeah, like what else did you want to like kind of discuss? I gave you a few reasons why. Also, like everything being online, your looks are even more important, right? And now that women can make just as much money as a man, they're going to put more emphasis on how you look because they can take care of themselves financially. They don't need to rely on you. There's so many reasons like why it's more important now.
Yeah, but the thing is with that too, it pushes the ceiling higher. Women, if they are at a certain level of career success, they want their man to be at a better level of career success than them. If they're making a certain amount, they want their man to be making more. That's ideally, just the general rule. But I think one thing that would be interesting, because you're clearly confident in your stance here. If you were to publish papers on this, you realize that the stance that the Black Pill takes would massively disrupt the entire field of evolutionary psychology. Like it would be a catastrophic
not necessarily
change in how evolutionary psychology is viewed.
A lot of evolutionary psychology is about like noticing genetic value in potential mates, and height is a massive indicator. And women are becoming more honest about this online. They'll say shit like, "Oh, 6 footer and over only." They'll say shit like that on like Tinder. Let's say with
Women
their
are also
girlfriends.
bad at math, and they don't know what 6 feet is. So you can literally just lie.
They'll
they
be able
don't
to
know the
tell.
difference.
No, they've seen the fraud so much they can tell. Maybe if you're wearing lifts when you meet her, she might not be able to tell immediately, but like that's just one indicator. What like she's gonna feel cheated, you know?
Alex, how tall are you?
5'10" and a half, 5'11".
So do you put 6 feet on Tinder?
Of course, dude.
Of course he does. She's
Yeah.
lying.
So what percentage of girls call you out on that and say exactly?
Well, it's kind of a weird thing to call someone out for. You know, you're not gonna like.
Well,
say
you
that to
literally
their
just
face.
said that they're gonna call you out immediately as a
Well,
fraud.
they're
Dude,
in their head. In their head,
They
they're gonna
don't
be like,
know
"What the
how
fuck?"
tall. They just know that this idea is like, oh, a man that's tall, and like
It's not an
realistically,
idea, bro.
women.
It's in
There's
their
they're
brain.
5'5"
5'5".
realistic exaggerations. There's unrealistic. So if you're like 5'5" and you say
Yeah.
you're 6 feet, yeah, like that's not going to go over well. I remember when I was like first getting into like fucking around with Seeking like 5 years ago, right? So this by the way, this is when I was like broke, like I didn't really have any money at that time. So I was like, you put down like your net worth. So I was like, okay, like let me be realistic. Let me put down like 2 million, right? Like I could maybe make that seem like that's the reality. And then I was getting away with it. So I was like, let me put down 10 million. Near the end, I was saying I had $100 million while living in a fucking shitty apartment. And like frame is just so strong. Like if you just like own that shit. I remember one time this chick was like, wow, you're really rich. So like how much money do you make a month? And I had to like do the mental calculations. I was like, I make like $150,000 a month. And the girl's like, oh wow. Yeah, that's really impressive. You must work hard. I'm like, yeah, hard. Yeah.
Well, my bigger concern is not with lying about like 1 inch. Yeah, it's more about the more extremes, like 3 to 4 inches, right? Like that's extremely noticeable. But the bigger thing specifically with you, Alex, is I know I harp on this, but it's out of love. It's the face app stuff because that tremendously like face is like half the picture. If you're already
Yeah, but it's
5'11",
never the thing is, looks for real. It's never once backfired. Like I've never had a girl like call me out or be like, or like not like I've never had a situation where the girl's like, I'm not feeling it. Like I've had situations where I personally, the girl's like 30 pounds heavier, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, like just
Yeah, I feel like you're unique in that sense because I feel like a lot of guys would just do it because the chick's already there. Like you know how guys are, they'll fuck anything that
right.
moves, especially
Yeah,
if she's
sure.
already at your place, right? So
I mean, like 7 years ago, yeah, I would have been the same. At this point, it's just like fucking girl that's not tracking to me is like kind of just I feel like a waste of my time. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I remember the only time I ever really experienced like that, what you're just describing was when I was doing the deepfake experiment. And just to be clear, I wasn't like trying to deepfake these girls. It was a Tinder experiment I was doing for a video for a period of time. When I was doing the deepfake experiment, I was using like that like deepfake model, which looks like totally nothing like me. Some of the girls were saying like, yo, like you don't look like your photos. Like I was getting that. Believe it or not, like at least half the girls were like down anyway. But what aside from doing that, like just using FaceApp on my regular photos, I've never had like any kind of pushback.
I don't know. I feel
Yeah,
like even if she
there's
doesn't
also a
say it to
difference.
you,
There's also a difference because Alex and I we're forced to be pragmatic because we're giving guys strategies that work in the real world. We can't just be philosophical, right? So if we use FaceApp to make ourselves look 1 point more attractive or whatever, it's for a pragmatic purpose, right?
I mean,
and then you
obviously.
realize that when women meet you in real life, they're like, oh, this guy's close enough, whatever. Let's just see if he's attractive, right? And then your personality comes out, the leading, the dominance, the teasing, the fun, the good vibes, the emotions, and it doesn't fucking matter.
You know what's interesting though? Like this is kind of my old business partner who obviously I don't get along with, but I like this thing about him. So David Swift, he was fat, right? He's like fucking 280 pounds, and his photos, like if you think that I push the line with my photos, you haven't seen anything with.
No, I know. I'm not saying there's not people that do it worse. I'm sure there's plenty.
But the point I'm making is, okay, so I had a discuss. So this is what he told me. I truly believe it when he says this. He said, every time I meet up with a girl from dating app, I see the look of disappointment in her eyes because I look like close enough like my photos. He says, but that's what forces me to get my game to be really good is because I have to like basically then like I'm starting at a negative point. I have to like turn around and get to a positive point. And to his credit, I like stayed with him for periods of a time. We traveled together. I'm sure there's some girls he didn't fuck, but most of the time he did close those girls. Like I've seen it. Like that guy was just like, he just used every ounce of charm, charisma, and humor to turn around.
And to his credit, he is losing weight now and he's living with a personal trainer.
I've I've heard that since we've been business partners for 6 years that he's losing weight. So I'll believe it when I see it.
Okay.
Well, let's flip the question around, right, Alex? You said, like, let's say you meet with a girl and she's kind of overweight, right? Like you described. You're not gonna like look past that because she's like, I don't know, her personality's cool or whatever. You're just trying to like fuck her, you know? So you're gonna keep it real with her and be like, listen, this isn't what I thought. I've been deceived. I don't want this anymore, you know?
Right, but I think I think obviously both people care about looks, but men place much more priority on looks than women do. Women, if you have like really good charisma and game and humor, women will like kind of, give you points for that. Now, I do believe if the difference is too drastic, like you're straight up catfishing the girl because of the sense of deceivement, no amount of game will turn it around. But so I think it really comes down to the level of the exaggeration. I think that's really
You're pushing the limits. Yeah, I'll say that. I don't know. That's the only thing, really. I think you've got like decent social skills and all that stuff. It's just like the face app thing bugs me and the lying about the height, but motherfuckers got to do what they got to do out here, you know. It's getting tough in the dating scene.
Well, I would say, well, I mean, like I don't really care at this point. I have a girlfriend. I would also say, okay, like this is what I've noticed after talking to a girl. Girls expect you to lie about your height by an inch or two. So if you're 5'10", you say you're 5'10", the girl's going to think you're 5'8". Like that's just the fact of the matter.
Right.
So it's like, is it even a lie at this point? Well, I think like, why would you like if you know that every girl who sees your profile is going to think you're 5'8", why would you not actually say you're 6 feet so she knows your real height? Like it's just like every girl at this point expects you to lie by an inch or two. So you can be like either a pragmatist or you can be like idealist. It's like, I'm going to reset the dating scene. I'm against this type of behavior. I'm going to be like dead honest. Okay, cool. Like you're not going to make any kind of
I feel
impact.
like women would commend you for that. Like they don't like when guys lie about their height. Like it's obvious. So the reason why they have height preferences is because they don't want manlets. They make it clear, but somehow they try to squeak by, you know? I don't know. I just see it as deceptive if it's like a little too much. Yeah, like 1 inch, maybe 1.5 or something. It's like not really that noticeable, but then you're pushing the line.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying do it by 3 or 4 inches. Like I'm saying do it by like an inch and a half. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't advocate for guys to do 3 or 4 inches. That's like a huge stretch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, how do you feel about guys constantly talking shit about your girlfriend in the comments? Yeah, I don't really give a shit. It doesn't really matter what some people on the internet think about my girlfriend. But I do find it really bizarre how like sometimes I'll be having like a really serious discussion about like some deep topic, and the only thing the chat is doing is just arguing about whether my girlfriend's a 6 or 7. Like, bro, I think look at her facial features. I think she's like a 5.5. Oh, come on, bro. And Addie's not that bad. Plus, she's really cool with Alex, so I think we gotta give her a 7. Nah, bro. Like, totally nothing to do with the topic. Like, the chat is just going off.
I'm holding my tongue.
Basically, the moral of the story, Austen, is if you get a girlfriend, don't bring her on publicly because the chat will become.
I brought my girlfriend on your stream.
No, I know. But I'm just saying in general.
We'll just make sure she's like really beautiful. There'll be no discussion in the chat.
No, I think even if she's really beautiful, guys will like attack her.
Guys just have this. That's the thing too. Is like guys have really different like things that they're attracted to. Like, dude, some people in that Alpha Circle chat, they'll post the girls that they're dating, and like Alex and I have a pretty similar type. I think like we like big booties. Like that's pretty much our main criteria. But dude, they'll post girls that are like they're models, but then their physique looks like it's just like an emaciated like Auschwitz survivor, and you're just like I'm just like, what is there to be attracted to? I'm like confused. Like I've dated some models, and it's like you fuck them and you just like stare at their face when you're fucking them, and they're like, it's just like there's nothing else.
But yeah, I've always said you gotta have the best of
by.
both worlds. Like you shouldn't have to settle for one or the other. That's all.
But like I'll look to Austin's point, like with my business partner Indian P, we have a totally different taste. So he likes these like really tall Scandinavian looking girls who are like very slender. And like I look at those girls and he's like, yo, did you see like this fucking hottie? I'm like, there's nothing attractive about this girl. She's like she's like your height, man. Like to me, the girl being my height is like there's nothing attractive in that for me. Like I need the girl to be like a head shorter than me. So it's like to him, but to him, those like tall Scandinavian model looking creatures are attractive. I don't know.
Dude, my old mentor, his type was girls that are hitting the wall that are as tall as possible, and they have like a horse-like kind of tranny looking face.
No,
like,
dude.
Like I can't But it's actually good to have those guys as wingmen because you're never going to compete over the same girls. Versus like if Alex and I went out together, we would just be viciously competing for the 10% of girls that have decent asses.
For the biggest booty. Remember when you and I were accidentally hitting on Coach Kyle's girlfriend?
Dude, prime example. I was on program, and then I don't know. I was like, the only girl I'm attracted to in this whole place is like this like girl with that big booty. And I was talking to her, and then dude, she goes, she's like, you have a pretty good game. And I was like, what do you, she kept like bringing up game. And I was like, why do you keep talking about game? And she goes, well, my boyfriend's a dating coach. And I'm like, what's his name? She's like, Coach Kyle. And I'm like, what the fuck? Let's FaceTime him right now. Let's jump on FaceTime. Fuck.
Yeah, she's like, wait, you're not Alex from Playing with Fire. I'm like, no, that's me. She's like, no, you're not him. I'm like, I promise you, I'm the one. She was like surprised. Yeah, that was funny.
But you know what's funny is that for me and Alex, that girl's like, I'd give her like a 9.5, 10. Like I don't really know how she could be more attractive, but for most of our audience, dude, when I'm with this one girl that I'm seeing, she's like blonde, giant tits, perfect face, not even much of a booty. She's pretty thin, and like not even that fit, and like, yeah, guys just go fucking nuts, dude. They're like, dude, that is a 12 out of 10. Like, oh my god, like the audience goes ballistic, and I'm like just not even that attracted. I'm like, should I date these girls that the audience is super attracted to? But then I'm like, maybe I'll just keep them as a fuck buddy. I'm always like weighing it out, you know? It's like it's really good content, but I'm not even that attracted to her, even though everyone else is saying she's super attracted. And then I'm attracted to girls that the audience would be like, oh, this is like a fucking 7. But for me, it's like it makes my dick harder than anything. So I don't know.
There's nothing that makes my dick harder than like a flat stomach and just like a unrealistically fat ass, like where the ass is like super jiggly and like fucking like does
like how we went from black pill to like a personal preference. That's cool.
Ass pill. Dude, I'm ass pilled. That's for sure.
Dude, I'm definitely the kind of person that's willing to overlook major things if the ass is fat, as long as the stomach is flat.
She like pulls a gun on you mid-sex, and you're like, "This is worth it.
This is worth it." She's like, "I am gonna murder you once you finish." I'm like, "Okay, just let me bust."
You're like, perfect way to die. I don't care.
I mean, if I have to pick a way to die, it will be with my dick inside of a big booty Latino. So.
You want to bring on like Stefan or something? Stefan's another black player. I think it'd be more fair.
I mean, this is not really like a debate. We're just having a discussion. I mean, I do want to wrap up in like 5-10 minutes.
Gotcha.
We can do like a
looks for L. Are you ass pilled or not?
I like ass more because when you hit it from the back, it's like better, you know. Of course.
Also,
but you gotta have everything though. You can't just have a busted face and a good body, or like even an okay face. Like I want everything, you know.
But you don't prioritize, because for me, like the body's like so much more important than the face.
I think they're equally important. I mean, when you're out with her at a party, you want it to be a massive halo, and then when you want her in the bedroom, you want it to be like, you know, clapping and shit. You need to have the best of both worlds, you know.
But like, there's like for example, I could totally be with a girl who has a really nice body, but like a so-so face. But I could never be with a girl who has a so-so body but a really nice face.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing is, the girl that has the epic face, if you bring her out in public, like it's like having a. It's like having a dude. I honestly think like the biggest, most high status thing you could have is literally just a really hot girl on your arm.
Yeah,
like the looks that I get when I'm with this girl are like, dude, I'll go out to dinner with her, and guys will be at a table like with their girlfriend or their wife, and you just see this look of like, fuck, dude. They're like, fuck, who is this?
Well, no, there is something more. There's something more high status than that, and that's having multiple hot girls. But yeah.
Yeah,
no, but I'll say like I agree with Austen here like a lot. That like having a hot girl like next to you by your side with your arm around her is a massive halo. Like everyone will notice. And then if she has a killer bod in the bedroom, that's like even better.
Yeah, dude, that is the easiest way to have threesomes. Is you have a girlfriend that is just like other girls want to fuck your girlfriend. Like, dude, I'll get approached when I'm with that girl. She will get approached by girls, like just trying to like, oh hey, what's up? It's like.
Yeah, Yeah, I've had that happen when I'm out with Natty. Yeah, like other girls. What pisses me off slightly is that like I've been trying to teach Natty like some cold approach with like videos that we released. Dude, girls get such a better reaction when they approach other girls than guys. There's no
Oh yeah.
bitchiness. There's no cold shoulder. There's no I have a boyfriend. It's like, hey, nice to meet you. Right? It's like I've never
That's
seen
just how
Natty
girls talk, you know.
like it's just like such a fucking like I don't know like massive advantage. Like Natty can go up and sit to like a group of girls and it's just like, and her game will be like I love Natty, but her game will be like pretty fucking like cringe like for what I've seen. Right, sometimes she's getting better, but her game is like not good. And then like the girls will respond so positively, and then like if I was to do the same exact thing, it's like always right away. It's like whoa, like I have to overcome this like massive bitch shield.
Well, yeah, because they're not assuming she wants to fuck them like right away. You know, maybe she's just talking to them. Like girls are so open about that.
Right. They don't think she has an ulterior motive.
Right. That's the thing, Alex.
Little do they know she's mic'd up and we're filming. Yeah.
And she's like harmless, right? She's like really small, so like
Yeah,
there's no threat either. I don't know. There's a lot.
She looks very harmless. Yeah. Although I would say she's definitely like she can be vicious when scorned, from what I've seen. But yeah.
Cool. Is this the point at which we wrap this?
This is the point where you bring out your massive dildo.
Where is it? But dude, gym shoes. I'm looks maxing, bro.
Oh my god.
These, dude, Nike. What are these called?
Yeah, Air Force Ones. They're like pretty solid.
Nike Metcons for the gym. They last like 5 years. I've had Metcons from like 5 years ago, and they're like still pretty solid. Just started.
Austen, here's a question for you. Where did you meet that girl that you said everyone finds attractive?
Which one?
The one you said with the big tits.
I met her on Seeking.
Oh, and you were able to turn it into like something like long term?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because women on that site, you have to. Alex and I obviously talk about this in our own respective programs. I feel like we shouldn't talk too much about Salt Daddy stuff online because then Seeking gets pissed because it's against their brand image.
Yeah, they don't like that.
But we'll just say, what if we could just say Salt Daddy sites?
Yeah, we just as long as we don't say the actual name.
I kind of find that
you just come across as a fun guy, and dude, I actually do the opposite of what Alex is saying. I put my annual income as pretty low relatively, like because there's so many guys on there that have like toothpaste flecks on their mirror, and it's like they're like, I make $400 trillion per minute. So girls just see that as bullshit.
That's interesting. Maybe I should consider doing that. Yeah, just putting it like ultra low. So you're going to the other extreme. Yeah. You're almost like downplaying your income. You're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and women on that site, they just want to be a successful guy, right?
Well, no, only some. A lot of women just want to make.
That's why I don't like it, because it's kind of deceptive, like with your goals. I don't want to like say manipulation, but it's like you're trying to find like a loophole, you know? It's
no,
deceptive.
I mean,
it is kind of like a loophole.
No, but there's a whole bunch of different types of girls on the website. There's some girls who just want to get the bag, and there's some girls who just want to date a successful guy, and there's everything in between.
But it's built for a certain reason, and you guys are not using it for that reason. That's
like saying, it's like saying Tinder's built for hookups, and you're using Tinder to get a relationship.
No, I mean you can't compare those two things. Like one is literally like for money, and the other.
I think you look at things more binary than Alex and I look at things. We look at things more of a spectrum. Like literally everything in the observable universe is on a spectrum, including me. I'm on the autism spectrum. So there's like a spectrum of reasons why girls are on the site. There's a spectrum of reasons why guys are on the site.
That's true.
And like
I think guys are on the site because they're lonely and they want a chick. And then the girls are on it because they want money, and then they find a balance there.
But I mean, like clearly Austen, like was able to, get a girl without paying money, and they were like.
I mean, I'm taking his word for it. I mean, we're all taking people's word here.
I'm not lying, dude. I've hung out with Austen enough to know that he gets laid. He gets girls.
Oh. Yeah. But another girl that's in my rotation I met through night game. One girl in my rotation I met through day game. Another one through night game. So there's a variety. One was a night game pull and one was like a night game number.
What
There's
is
a
your
variety of
product?
oh wait, you asked in the beginning like what you think was the best strategy for men.
Oh yeah, should I answer
And
that quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so the few things like I actually kind of agree with Austin. The surgery route can be good for your face or your height, but you gotta have a budget for it.
He never said that, did he?
He did the leg lengthening surgery.
Oh,
I said that's one way that you can
You offered it as a potential solution, yeah. Okay, so the other one is like moving to a country where men are a lot shorter, so you're seen as more desirable compared to them. And the other one is losing body fat if you're overweight. Everything else is kind of there's not much you can do. But yeah, those are some 3 solutions right there that you can start doing now. So get to it, boys.
Yeah, so
I think I
the
won that
question
poll, Alex.
wait, I do have a follow-up question for Alex's question is like what is the guy's starting point? Because I feel like for different guys, different strategies probably work better.
Yeah,
I do think the starting point makes a big difference. I had one client. I don't know if you want to call him a client since he never really even paid me money, but he was like, well, actually no, he did book one coaching session. Never mind. But he's like 300 pounds or something like that. Like for him, it's like I'm like, dude, like everything you're gonna do now is gonna be massive diminishing returns until you get the weight in check.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's going out doing a lot of cold approach. I'm like, yeah, you can keep doing cold approach, but again, you're going to be getting very low ROI until you get to like a reasonable weight range, like but yeah. So
Agreed.
I do think the starting point really matters. Austin, when are you finishing your program?
I'm gonna launch it in March. Yeah,
March.
And Looks for L will be pleased that there's an entire category on aesthetics.
Whoa.
Even things that you haven't even thought of, such as increasing your height using surgery. So don't worry, man. I go pretty in depth.
I'm glad you covered the important bases. So,
but my strategy. I mean, I kind of laid out in the video. I'm not really only game. I'm not like only looks. I'm not only lifestyle or money. I think you should try to max out everything.
Yeah,
and there's a strategy to do that as well. I think in general, what works best is work on your health first. And then when you feel good, you're going to be like a better person to be around in general. And then that you work on your game. So you're able to connect with people. You're able to make it man to woman. You're able to vibe with people, have a good connection. You're able to lead it forward towards sex. Because even guys that are good looking, if they don't know what the fucking to do, right? You're not going to.
Most guys,
you're not going to get
most
laid.
good-looking guys know what they're doing because they've had so much experience with other women.
That's just. I've had
good-looking guys.
I've had too many good-looking clients too. I can send you pictures privately. I should just go through and get their consent and just so I can.
I'm telling you, I know like a good amount of good-looking guys as well, and none of them struggle. Like not one, bro. It's what is?
I'm telling you, I know a lot of good-looking guys who really fucking struggle.
Like, I mean, what are the odds that like the majority is men who are unattractive? Like we have to see a pattern here. Like
no, of course, dude. Of course, a good-looking guy has an advantage to a guy that's not good-looking. Of course, on average, good-looking guys struggle less than not good-looking guys. Yeah, of course. I'm just saying there are plenty of good-looking guys who still struggle.
I mean,
yeah. The way I look at it is the better looking you are, you just go through the learning process of game faster because you have more receptive women on average, right? So
not only
if you have more women giving you a green light, like by whatever 50%, 75%, whatever, you're gonna have a lot more at bats down the funnel. So like you're gonna have more girls that are going to insta-date with you, more girls that you can pull, more girls that you can be in closing situations with.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't like guarantee you game. There is obviously like the halo effect, which you mentioned, right?
It's
Women
massive.
assume you're more charismatic, attractive, confident just off the bat. But anyway, but I want to see, Alex, do you agree with that? Like first you work on your health in life, and then you work on your game, and then you work on your career and lifestyle. I think that
I think you should work on. I think you should work on pretty much everything at once. I think you can multitask. It blows my mind how people make it like all or nothing. Like, oh, do I go in the gym or do I work on my game? It's like,
yeah, but it's hard to establish multiple habits at once. That's why I like to. I think it's good to kind of delineate a little bit.
So you mean like for like 30 days until you establish the habit, then you get into that? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think because I think these things fuel each other. So meaning like you have a really good workout in the gym, and then you feel like more confident, then you approach a girl as you're walking home, and then like or maybe you have like you have a bad date the night before, so then you're really motivated and you go hard in the gym. So I think like they all kind of like tie into each other and they fuel each other.
Yeah, I think actually now that I'm thinking about this, speaking out loud, it might be actually best to do game first because I just know from my
No.
experience that if you're doing game and then you hit a plateau or you hit a wall, you go like, fuck, I need to work on this one particular aspect. Like I remember when I was learning game, I was like, man, I'm struggling to like connect with girls and I find myself trapped in my head. I'm like, what should I do? And that's when I got really deep into meditation. Or if I'm like, fuck, I keep getting pushed around by random guys when I'm out, like, what should I do now? Focus on fitness. And I think for guys early on, if they're super overweight, that's probably where it's best to just focus on the weight first. And they could still go out and be social, right? But they're less likely to get in sexual situations with girls because their body is obviously unattractive. But even beyond that, it fucks up their hormones, it fucks up their voice, it fucks up like everything. You don't come across as cool. You just don't come across as cool if you're fat. Like nothing's really that cool if you're fat.
Or the other one that is the voice pill is real. If you have like a really high pitched voice, like that will fuck you over.
That was me.
Yeah. It's all like testosterone related, like good genetic health, and if you're fat, you're not desirable. So
I do think you should work on like sexual market value and game like in a similar time. I think they're just.
Hold on, can I ask you a question? Do you think logistics is part of game?
Logistics are part of being successful with girls. It's not really game, but it's part of being successful. So yeah, they do matter for sure. Good logistics. It's but yeah, like I mean, you get to the point of diminishing returns with logistics, meaning like what you really need is you need a place where you can pull and it has to be like within walking distance of like the nightlife venues. That's like what matters.
Right.
Whether you have like an average apartment, a really good apartment is going to give you only diminishing returns.
Because like for the majority of shit, like when you match with a girl on Tinder, you get her number, you have some small talk, maybe you send her a voice memo, then you plan some shit and you invite her over. It's that simple. Like that's not game in my opinion. That's just like logistics, really.
Yeah, I think this comes from game is your strategy that you're using. So for example, if you're like, let's just say you have good logistics and all that, and you're trying to get the girl over, and you're like, hey, do you want to come over to my place and have sex? Or
Dude,
you're
who
like,
does that? Come on.
oh, plenty of guys. Have you ever made a profile as a girl and seen the cringe game that most guys have?
You're talking about the opener, yeah, because they're trying to be unique and like cool and
Dude,
weird.
not even the opener. Like sometimes we like when we do our experiments, we'll engage with them, and like the game is just like gets cringier and cringier as the conversation goes on.
I'd even say that logistics isn't even that important. As long as you're within like 20, 30 minutes of where you're meeting the girl, like it's fine. You don't need to live in the optimal, like right above the club, but that'll give you more at bats.
But
I think even for I think what's really good for guys that are learning isn't even necessarily being close to the nightlife area, because you could be 5-10 minutes away and be fine. Like all you do is hop in an Uber and you chat for 5 minutes while playing thumb war with a girl, and like it's fine. But being in an area where there's women walking around, I think that's actually really good. Because like if you can just day game or just even just socialize and see attractive women every day, it kind of like makes it super normal to you. The problem is when guys go like 1-2 weeks without talking to girls and they're just kind of like, I don't know if you guys have ever been there, like where you're just like in work mode for 2 weeks and then you talk to a girl and you just come across really stiff and robotic because you haven't literally been doing anything.
Yeah.
No,
this is a private chat.
I thought that happened. But I think here's another thing that I think is growth hormone MK67 for height. Yeah, it doesn't really work that way. Once you've already like hit your like unless you're doing HGH as a kid, which you shouldn't be as a teenager. If you're doing HGH as an adult, this is coming from someone who did like a year and a half of HGH, so I know this shit. It's not going to increase your height.
Yeah.
Your bones have already fused at that point. Even huge amounts.
Yeah, your bones stop growing at around like.
Yeah, like there's so many misconceptions about like this kind of stuff. Like it blows my mind.
I don't know. Like the thing I feel the way I feel about game or social skills or whatever you want to call it, it's just it goes back to the not being autistic point, which is like not spurting out and saying, "Do you want to come have sex?" Like, come on, bro. Guys aren't saying that.
But there's levels, but yeah, but no, but there's levels of it. Then there's like the average thing where with the average guy where you're like, you're doing something that's okay. Like, I'll use this example. Let's take Eric Ronaldo, right? He's you would call him a pretty good looking guy, maybe Chad Light or something like
No,
that.
use Hugh. Use Hugh.
He's what?
Hugh Jassel.
Well, I don't know the story with Hugh, but I know the
Okay.
story with Eric.
He's
So
all right. I mean, okay. Anyway.
okay, so anyway, so me and Eric were like talking. He was like, "Yeah, man, sometimes I have a hard time like pulling, girls." He's like, "Maybe you could give me some feedback or something." I was like, "Well, like what happened?" He's like, "Yeah, I was at the bar. I was making out with this girl for like an hour, and then I tried to pull, and like she was like she didn't seem that interested." I was like, "Well, you killed all the sexual tension by making out with her for so long. You got to make out with a girl for like a few minutes, and then you build sexual tension, then you pull." And he's like, "Oh shit!" So that's like that's not cringe. That's something that's like a lot of guys would do is just like make out with a girl for a while who's receptive. Like that's where knowing game comes in and knowing that like, hey, too much making out can kill the sexual tension.
I mean, we're just assuming that the sexual tension was killed. Like it could have been a myriad of reasons. We need to isolate for all factors, and it's kind of impossible.
Well, it's kind of impossible, but you go off patterns that you see. Like I know with myself, like back in the day when I used to do like the hour-long makeouts, it would just like almost always like kill the sexual tension versus like
How do you guys make out for an hour, bro?
Sexual tension is postponement of physicality that both of you want. So if you're just constantly doing the same thing over and over again, it gets repetitive and boring and predictable, and girls don't get turned on. Right.
Yeah,
So you can actually use sexual tension to pull girls, and there's definitely levels to it. Again, it's like a spectrum, right? There's ways you can do it that are more effective, and there's ways you can do it that are less effective. It's not just like you're either autistic or you're not.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's
think
like
binary thinking in general is just a bad way to view life. It's like,
but
everything's
specifically
just a matter
here,
of
like the
degrees.
thing he described, which is like, do you want to have sex with me? Like, dude, I mean, that's clearly like,
Well, I know, but I want to give you an extreme analogy to like drive the point home.
yeah. I mean, again, I think if she desires you, she'll want to come see you. That's also another thing. It's like if you're constantly trying to hit up a girl over and over again, like why are you even pursuing it at that point? Because like if she wanted to come see you, she would have already. You don't want to chase after a girl who doesn't even desire you, or like.
I mean, I've had countless. I mean, if I've had countless situations where the girl was like totally dropping off, and I turned it around.
Yeah, but even if you can turn it around, it's like, is it even worth it? Like you had to put in so much effort just to get away. Like I don't know.
I mean,
like how easy should it be?
It should be
women
like
are psychologically going to invest years of their life into childbirth, rearing, etc.
Years, dude. There's plenty of guys who will happen instantly. Like you guys meet, she knows she fucks with you, and like she just comes over. I mean,
I fuck girls within 5 minutes of meeting them, like on fucking outdoor fucking patios and bathrooms and this type of thing, but. Those are the exceptions.
But also, like, how long does it take to send a text? I hate this argument because it's like people assume it's like you're sitting there for hours. Like it takes 10 seconds. What I do is I'll like once a week I'll go through like all the dead numbers in my phone, mass send like the optimal takeaway. It'll take me, I don't know, fucking like 5 minutes to get through all of them, and like that's it. Like how long does it take?
Yeah, not necessarily just the time. It's like also kind of mentally draining, and it's not respectful when she flakes on you. It's like a bunch of factors.
Alex, you can even get a groups app so that you can just like batch that, but they send automatically.
Dude, I feel like people are like too obsessed with like do you want to be respected or do you want to get laid?
That's the question you need to ask yourself. Yeah, at a certain point, like I feel like getting laid is like whatever.
But who gives a shit what some random chick thinks about you? Like I care about the respect of my friends, my family, people I'm close with. I don't give a shit whether some random bimbo respects me or not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's a ego limiting.
Well, everyone has you would want to be respected, bro. I mean, you don't want to be flaked on like 3 times, and she's like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'll go." Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like cool to me, but
yeah, I kind of agree. There's like a middle ground.
Yeah, there's
even if you bang the girl, but you'd want to retain her, you don't want her to see you in that light.
But I do think things substantially change once sex happens. I've had situations where the girl was super like flaky, and then we have sex, and then she becomes like super receptive. So if after sex she's still being flaky, then yeah, like I won't put up with that. But like I've just seen too many examples where it flips after sex. So like I'll still give her the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, if after sex she still continues, then like yeah, I won't.
Got it. Okay, that's kind of reasonable.
I see two things about me in the chat over and over again, so I'll just address them. One is that I look inflamed. Well, I had what's it called? Mono for 2 months. Apparently you can get it twice in your life. So I've been, dude, I just wrecked. I had like maybe 2-3 hours of energy per day for like 2 months. Just like horrible, like feeling like I'm gonna die every single day.
Alex, I think guys will pursue even if they flake once, but it's just they don't like it at all. Like they'd prefer that they don't.
Yeah, of course, dude. But dude, I would prefer that like every single one of my videos gets massive amounts of views, and I don't have to like constantly tinker with the thumbnail, constantly tinker with the title. You know, like there's a lot of things I would prefer.
I mean, guys will fuck anything, so they're gonna try their hardest. Like that's such a. I feel like that question is kind of loaded, you know, because of course they're gonna keep trying. They want to get laid, you know.
Well, not all guys. Like some guys will like. I had this one guy who was like hardcore criticizing the fact that like I would like double text girls or whatever who are like dropping off. He's like, bro, that's like, you can't be doing that. You're chasing. You're adding to the epidemic.
Okay. I'm talking about the majority of guys here. You know, they'll keep trying.
Probably most guys would, and probably most guys would do it to like to an unreasonable point where it's like, dude, like you should have given up like a while ago. But yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, Q2 is here. A little late, but it's good.
Well, let's I actually want to wrap up because I want to
keep
this up in 2 hours. Okay, do you guys want to plug your shit real quick before we wrap up?
Go ahead, Austen.
Yeah, Austen Summers on YouTube.
That's it. Yeah, I don't have a channel. I'm just here to spread wisdom. That's all. No clout chasing here.
Cool.
I'm the clout chaser, so you can follow me.
Austin chasing my cloud. That's funny. But yeah, dude.
Let's set up another one or something.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Austin, you gotta hurry up and fucking finish that product.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's basically like I'm writing an entire book or two, plus filming everything, plus like editing it so it looks cool and like there's like images and examples of everything.
I went through that fairly recently. I think you gotta like I know you spend a lot of time putting that massive dildo up your ass, so you gotta like kind of like hold off on that until the product is finished.
It's hard to balance. There needs to be like work dildo balance that I
know, man. That's tough, but a lot of I'm pretty excited to see it. A lot of guys are waiting for you to get back on the podcast. So yeah.
All right, later.
But yeah, cool. Thanks for coming on, guys. So we're going to do, very likely we're going to do another round of speed dating tonight. I will confirm in half an hour, but yeah, we're going to do speed dating at 9 o'clock. So that should be fun. So tune in for that. Appreciate y'all. Check out Austin's content. Thank you guys for watching. Smash like. And until next time.